What's up, guys? It's your boy Tito once again, Candy Man, and welcome to episode 2 of Ken and Bez Navigating Marriage. Now, it's called Ken and Bez, but wala si Bez dito, obviously. So, Bez is currently on a business trip right now. She's on the other side of the world, and you know, um, we could have done like a Zoom podcast. We actually intended to do that, but I think it would be better for her to focus on that business trip rather than think of this podcast. I support her in that way. At the same time, I think it's still good to ride on the momentum of episode 1 and continue with this episode even without her. So I think it's the perfect time naman to do this thing that I've always wanted to discuss because this has been asked to me by a lot of people what it's like being with a strong and independent woman. These are not medical advice. If you need help, please seek a professional. And first and foremost, before anything else, I think this is a misnomer because I think all women in general are strong. No, because I think strength can be seen in different ways. No, even the women who we think are very submissive based on our perception, they are still strong because submission is strength. And whatever way you show your strength, whether as a mother or as a career woman, I think you just being in this world dominated by men in a patriarchal society is, I think, already strength in itself. And you should not let anyone else think otherwise. And siguro an advice for women who are strong and given the advice na masyado ka kasing matapang, kaya walang na-attract sa'yo lalaki. No, never change yourself. Never shortchange yourself for someone or to be with someone kasi that you should never dim your light. But I think the reason why I'm doing this is because this is what a lot of people ask me. And maybe their definition of strength and independence is like someone who's very career driven, someone who doesn't tolerate BS, basically a type A personality, what you will. And Bez and I, we have different set of friends. So there are friends that we met together or they got to know us separately because we met at work. So obviously our office mates know who got to know us almost at around the same time. And since we didn't start off as dating right away, but they got to know us separately. And like for those people, I think it makes sense. Like me and Bez, it makes sense. But yung other set of friends naman, those who started off as Bez's friends first before they got to know me, um, I hear a lot of things being said like one person said, buti na control mo si Bez. And this is really funny because it was coming off as someone who was concerned now. Like, I'm worried that Bez's personality is too strong for you. You're a very intelligent person, but you're very laid back, and Bez is Bez's personality might overpower you, 'di ba? Baka ma-overpower ka sa strength ng personality niya. And of course, the other set of friends naman, those na kilala ko before Bez, and yung reaction lang nila is they're just happy na a masungit person like me will end up being in a relationship with a beautiful woman. Okay, so first thing about being with a strong and independent woman is you have to be secure in yourself. You have to have some sort of security. Be secure in your own power, in your own strength. Be secure in yourself. Because I think the reason why people equate being someone who's career driven, being someone who's outspoken as powerful is because that's the image we have of powerful people. Someone very loud, someone very strong. And that's true, no? Those people are powerful. I'm not taking anything away, but I'm also saying na there are different types of power and you can become very powerful even if you're silent, even if you're very timid. And sometimes nga, it can be more powerful. Hindi lang porket loud ka, powerful na yon, no? In theater, because I do theater, I did acting, like our directors would tell us na sometimes less is more, no? So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Sa theater, hindi kailangan sumigaw ka lagi para maging powerful yung performance, di ba? Hindi laging, it's not always angry, angry, angry! You could be angry, angry. 'Di ba? Yung mga something like that, that it doesn't have to be very loud to be powerful. So, sometimes nga, yung mga nanay natin sinasabi, makuha ka sa tingin, 'di ba? And so yun, I think you have to be secure in yourself, that you are strong, that you are also a child of God, no? And being with a strong woman, no, it doesn't really mean she's overpowering you, no. It doesn't have to be that way, because like I said in episode 1, her strength now becomes my strength. So someone who's as strong as that, but that's very attractive to me. And it's very funny because I never saw Bez as overbearing and overpowering when we met each other. It always comes from other people who met her before. Na yun yung image or perception nila of her. But I really saw Bess as someone who's very sensitive, someone very loving, and sometimes lang the love that she shows can be misconstrued by other people as someone who's controlling or ganun. But yun nga eh, but if a guy does the same thing that Bez does, parang hindi naman nila kino-call out. I don't know. I think that's also something, a gender issue na, no, na just because Bez is a very strong and strong-willed individual, they think that there's something wrong with that. Yun, Bez is very career driven, and I applaud her for that. I find that very attractive because it also drives me as an individual na she's like this, or so I also have to go above and beyond to be strong as well, 'di ba? Namo-motivate din ako, na-drive din ako. And siguro something lang that you have to be mindful of being with a strong woman is to keep your egos in check. No, for us men, ego is something very important. Something that sometimes controls our lives. No, and nai-insecure ba ako? Yes, totoo naman. I'm human. I'm a flawed individual. So there are times na I catch myself being insecure of being with someone powerful as well. Kasi syempre, it's natural. But I think what's important is that you have to be aware and keep yourself in check na I'm feeling this way because it's hurting my ego, but it's not necessarily wrong. Ayun. And second point that I want to drive in this very short podcast is, as Christians, minsan ginagamit yung verse sa Ephesians 5:22 to 23. Basahin ko muna para gets natin lahat na. Okay, it says na, wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife. So, laging kinukote to as a reason na dapat ikaw yung leader, dapat ikaw yung nagdidikta, dapat ikaw yung nagbibigay ng direction. No? Kasi ikaw yung lalaki, ikaw yung head of the family. And the only reason why people are saying this is because we think of being the head or the leader as the worldly definition of a leader. A strong man, if you will, someone na dictator, someone na laging nasusunod. But even without looking at this from a Christian point of view, no, I think this is in itself is wrong because throughout history we've seen that the great leaders are actually those who empower their subjects, diba? Or do not even consider them as subjects. Someone who empowers them, someone who does public service. And of course, very convenient na we end the reading dun sa gusto natin mag-end. When in fact, yung verse 23 itself, hindi pa tapos, di ba? So, if you look at the complete text, it's from Ephesians 5:22 to 26. Yan. It says na, wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and is himself its Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit in everything to their husbands. Husbands, this is the most exciting part. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up to her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word. Paano ba maging leader? I think yun yung what gets lost in the translation, because we stop at, oh, you're the head of the family, no? You're the head and the wife must submit to you, no? But what gets lost is that paano ba maging head? It's the same way as how Christ led the church, 'di ba? And how Christ led the church is never in a dictator way. He gives his children, no, na parang autonomy, free will, 'di ba? And he loves and constantly loves and even sacrificed, no, himself or his own son, 'di ba? So, yun, I think that's what gets lost, na being a head does not mean being a dictator. It means being in servant leadership. And yun nga, the proper way of leading as well is not dictating, but rather someone who's showing the ways, showing the values, showing love, showing care and compassion, 'di ba? So it's not always the manly type or the machismo type of leadership that is needed in marriage. So yun lang. Yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin in this podcast, na, for you to be with a strong woman, you have to be very secure. Never let the woman dim her light for you, because you would be with a person who's a wasted potential as well, diba? Hindi niya nagamit yung talents niya just to please your ego. So yan, keep your egos in check. And when you say wives submit to your husband, it also entails husbands love your wife. Diba? Yun lang. Thank you guys. Please like and subscribe to this channel.